What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs, bringing you a brand new video. Today's video, I'm going over Week 16's Saturday main slate. Obviously, the Christmas Eve slate is what they're going for. We're also going to get games on Christmas, games Thursday. So Friday is pretty much the only game, or the only day we don't have a game coming up. And yeah, we got some big names in this slate, so let's go through it. Just breaking down some of the first initial looks and prices. I apologize for the video coming out a little later than usual. Just all goes based off of my work schedule. Probably won't have these videos coming out for a little while. We're mostly going to have the cash plays and the showdown, so just look forward to that. So, Josh Allen, 8,500 against the Bears. Very cold, very windy game. I personally live in Illinois, so I know what the weather is going to be, and it is not looking good for us here. Josh Allen in this game, although the Bears secondary is terrible, very cold, very rough, windy game. I'd look more towards the running aspect, which Josh Allen and Justin Fields both have. But as of right now, I don't think it's really worth it there. Patrick Mahomes, 8,400 against Seattle. I actually think that's a pretty good matchup for him. Jalen Hurts against Dallas. Don't think he's going to play. If I'm Philly, to be honest, just really quick, if I'm Philly, I don't play Jalen Hurts the rest of the season. You have 3 games left. You need to win 1 out of the next 3. You have somebody who I think is a very underrated, hopefully gets a starting job next year, in Gardner Minshew behind Hurts. Let him play 3 games. Let Hurts get healthy and not risk anything, because I think Gardner Minshew can play very good for the Eagles. But with how dynamic and how good Jalen Hurts has that offense when he's in with the RPO, it's too risky at this point to play him. They almost have the home field. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they just need to win 1 out of the next 3. Could be wrong, but I believe that's what it is. So Justin Fields, 75 against Buffalo. Don't really like that at all. I do like Fields' rushing upside, but Buffalo has a very good defense. Lamar looking like he's going to be out against Atlanta. Joe Burrow against New England, 7K. Kind of interested to see how New England plays for Cincinnati. I like the price for Joe Burrow. The matchup is a little rough, but I like that price. Kirk Cousins against the Giants at 6,300. That's pretty interesting for Kirk Cousins. I actually like that price and matchup. Feel like that could be a good one. Dak against Philly. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm going to put it as a no for right now, but I am going to watch for that. Deshaun Watson, 6,000 against New Orleans. New Orleans, a pretty good defense. We all know that. Deshaun's fantasy numbers haven't been as good as we would hope. Not that we thought. Obviously, the rust and scheme and all that stuff plays a factor into it. Hopefully next season it starts to pick up. This year we're looking for him to just have a breakout game before we get too invested into him. I think he's a good tournament play though. Geno Smith against Kansas City, 5,800. He's definitely on my watch list for quarterbacks this week. 5,800. We all know Kansas City's defense has not been good. They almost lost to the Texans. Obviously Geno is going to be down Tyler Lockett, which does hurt. But he's found success in other weapons. 5,800. I like Geno Smith. Daniel Jones against the Vikings at 5,600. I also like that. I like his price. That is what really stands out for Daniel Jones for me at 5,600. I really like that price. It is a good matchup, don't get me wrong, but the price is what makes Daniel Jones playable. Brock Purdy against the Commanders. If he's healthy, yes. He's a great tournament play. I don't really think I'm going to target him in cash, but I think he's a really good tournament play. Jared Goff, 5,400 against Carolina. I'm going to take it. I like what Detroit's doing right now. A lot of weapons for Jared Goff. He's also trying to make a statement to the Lions office of saying that he wants to be the quarterback there. So, yeah, he's there. Tyler Huntley against Atlanta at 5,300. I do like that. The price is very good. With a good matchup, 5,300. I'm okay with playing that this week. Taylor Heineke against the 49ers. Everyone knows I'm a huge Taylor Heineke fan, but this does not look good for Washington at all. Sam Darnold against Detroit. Oh, just watching the DJ Moore news. If DJ Moore's out, I'm probably staying away fully. Andy Dalton against Cleveland, I don't like it, especially with Chris Olave banged up. That does hurt that. Davis Mills against Tennessee. If his receivers can get healthy, I think he's a good tournament play. I really do. Desmond Ridder at 5K against Baltimore. Last week, we see him have a 7-point game against New Orleans, and we have a similar style of defense here in Baltimore, and I'm going to stay away from that as well. Other than that, we have Mac Jones down here at 5K against Cincinnati. I don't like it. His weapons are banged up. Continue to go down. Malik Willis. Now, this is what we're watching for. 4,900 against Houston. Houston's defense not been good at all this year. Now, obviously, the Titans use Derrick Henry. Good matchup for Derrick Henry. We'll talk about him here in a second. But 4,900 for a quarterback with huge rushing upside and also a huge opportunity here. If he can win this game and look really good, make a case for next year for himself. If he doesn't play good, it's not looking good for him, at least next year. Christian McCaffrey against Washington, 8,800. I'd watch the Chase Young news. Chase Young's in. I actually like Washington's defense in this game. I still think overall San Francisco's defense is just going to carry their offense in this type of game. But if Chase Young's in, I don't like Christian McCaffrey this week. Derrick Henry against Houston, yes. Great matchup for him. With Tannehill out, they are going to feed Derrick Henry going against the worst rush defense. Saquon Barkley, 7,900 against the Vikings. Also a yes for me. Wasn't able to see Jonathan Taylor against them. Got hurt in the first drive. But Saquon Barkley against Minnesota, good matchup for him. Nick Chubb against New Orleans, I'm going to stay away, especially that he is being limited this week. New Orleans, a pretty good team against a run. I would just look at Kareem Hunt. You get a huge discount for volume. Dalvin Cook, 7,200. Got a good matchup. I'd say yes on Dalvin Cook right now for me. Stevenson, watching the injury news between Stevenson and Harris, I don't know if I want to go there, though. But Stevenson is a target machine as a running back. But I don't know if I like that. Tony Pollard at 7K, there's just options below him that I would rather go to. I think he's a good tournament play for getting leverage off of other running backs. But, I mean, he's been pretty good since taking an uptick in volume. Him and Zeke are pretty much close as far as snap count. But Tony Pollard being used between the 20s and Zeke pretty much getting that red zone work, which hurts if you like Tony Pollard. There's just other options like Alvin Kamara here at 6,800. I just go to something like that against Cleveland, another terrible team against running backs, and with Olave possibly being out, we're looking at someone like Kamara to take a step in this game. David Montgomery against Buffalo is a no for me. Ken Walker, just watching the injury status, if he plays, I think yes, at 6,400, he's definitely playable. Miles Sanders against Dallas is a no for me. Zeke against Philly is a no for me. McKinnon against Seattle is apparently yes. I don't know where this is coming from, but this is absurd. Absurd. Back-to-back 30-plus fantasy point games for a RB2. 17 targets. He's only rushed for 74 yards in the 2 games, but he has 4 touchdowns in the 2 games. He has 7 and 8 receptions, 70 yards, and 112. Jerick McKinnon, I guess you're going to play McKinnon until he disappoints at this point. I'm sure like other people, myself thought it was a one-off or a fluke, or Kansas City's just going to use Pacheco. Pacheco fumbles, and McKinnon gets the third down work, and then some. Cordell Patterson against Baltimore is a no for me. Dobbins, if he's healthy, yes. Against Atlanta, I like that. Pacheco as a tournament play, yes. Cash, no. Harris, if Stevenson out, maybe, but I don't really like Harris anymore. DeAndre Swift against Carolina is a yes. Devin Singletary against Chicago is a yes for me as well. Brian Robinson against San Fran, unfortunately, is a no. Best rush defense, and he doesn't get a lot of targets. Deontay Foreman against Detroit, I want to be able to decide a Carolina running back, but at this point, it's so hard. I'm just gonna stay away from the Carolina running backs. I think if you try to get them in a tournament, it could work out in your favor against Detroit. Especially in cash, I'm completely staying away. Algier against Baltimore, I'm staying away from. Jamal Williams against Carolina is definitely playable. Matt Breida, no. With Barkley and P. Ryan, no. Kareem Hunt down here at 49 if Chubb ends up being out. Gus Edwards down here at 48 if Dobbins ends up being out. I doubt that one, though. Rex Burkhead and Royce Freeman, 48, 46. I don't think it's terrible. Another sneaky tournament play. Other than that, I think we're just finding some backup running backs and stuff like that. So let's go to receiver. Justin Jefferson against the Giants is a yes for me. Stephon Diggs against the Bears. I say no just because of the game script. I don't think it's impossible that Stephon Diggs doesn't have an amazing game. I just would rather go somewhere a little safer, especially weather-wise. Jamar Chase against New England is a no. A.J. Brown against Dallas is a yes, even with Minshew. Amon-Ra against Carolina is a yes. CD against Philly, I'm probably going to... I hardly ever do this, but I'm probably going to stay away from CD Lamb. But DK Metcalf, 7,100 against Kansas City is a yes. T. Higgins, I'd say yes over Jamar Chase, especially for the discount. Devontae Smith, 6,600 is a yes for me. Brandon Ayuk, 6,300 against Washington is definitely a yes for me. Terry McLaurin against San Fran is a no. Olave, if he's healthy, yes, especially for the price point. Amari Cooper against New Orleans is a yes for me as well. Juju against Seattle is a no. DJ Moore against Detroit, if he's healthy, yes. Adam Thielen is a yes for me. Darius Slayton against Minnesota is a yes. I like Darius Slayton. I'm hoping he continues to get volume and they don't do what they've done in the last 2 years and just find a fifth string wide receiver from their practice squad's backup to get 6 targets in this game. Donovan Peoples-Jones, yes. Gabe Davis, yes. But it's the same thing. I just don't like the weather in that game. Same thing for Stephon Diggs. Drake London against Baltimore is a yes. And then this is where a play becomes very interesting, is all of Houston's wide receivers, their top 3 are all questionable. So just look for the injury status on that and find some value here against a Tennessee secondary that has been very bad and a Houston offense that's been able to move the ball. Against Dallas and Kansas City, they've been able to put up 20-plus points and probably should have beat both of those teams. Jacoby Myers, Devontae Parker, both questionable. Both are no's for me. Treylon Burks, if he could play at 4,600, is a yes for me. Chase Claypool is a no if he plays. Kadarius Toney is a yes for me at 4,400. I like him as a tournament play. I don't like him for cash. He's definitely a tournament play for me, though. I like his upside. Marquise Goodwin is another tournament play for me as well at 4,300. DJ Chark down there at 4,200 I think is a good play. Here is the guy that I think stands out to me as a pretty good cash value. And that's Denard Robinson. I mentioned it during the Saturday slate that I really liked him. 6+ targets in his last 3 games, and getting targets from a different quarterback. So he's definitely a value guy for me. Westbrook, if Treylon Burks is out, Westbrook is definitely a guy I look at. Jameson Williams, yes, I want that bounce back game. Other than that, we're fighting value. If Olave is out, you could go with a Landry or Shaheed. Either one of those guys kind of step up. And let's go to tight ends. Travis Kelce at 8K. 8 against Seattle, who is terrible against tight ends. If you can afford him, go for him. That's what I'm going to say. Mark Andrews against Atlanta, same thing. If you could afford him, go for him. I know it's been rough without Lamar for Mark Andrews, but this is definitely a game where he bounces back. George Kittle against Washington is a yes. We've seen Brock Purdy rely on George Kittle. Hasn't made the greatest throws to him, but definitely trust him for volume-wise. TJ Hawkinson against the Giants is a yes. Dallas Goedert against Dallas is a no for me right now. Cole Kmet is a no for me against Buffalo. David Njoku is a no for me against New Orleans. Dalton Schultz against Philly is a no. Dawson Knox against the Bears is a yes, actually. I like that matchup for him. Juwan Johnson against Cleveland is a no. Okonokwa 3,500 is a yes for me. Daniel Bellinger at 33 is a yes for me. If we start to see the injury news of Devontae Parker and Jacoby Myers, if they're both out, look at the tight ends for New England. Jono Smith down here at 28. Hunter Henry up here at 32. Both some cheaper options there. Brock Wright, 2,800. No. Atkins, no. Thomas, no. Hooper, no. And then it's just going into backups for the most part. So that's pretty much it. And then we'll end it. So I'd say what stands out the most to me right now is the Texans against Tennessee, 2,500, and the Commanders, 2,400 against San Fran. Those are the ones that stand out as of right now. Also could see Dallas against Philly if you don't like Gardner Minshew. Would definitely get on board with that. That being said, guys, I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.